Zuri thought she would never go back to Lagos and into the Jabari family, but she did not know that a storm was coming, which would change everything in her life once again, and she was not ready for it. 2 years had passed since Zuri left Lagos. Now she lived on a quiet island far away from the noise and pain she had known. The island was peaceful. The sky was always blue, the sea always moving gently. She worked at a small seaside restaurant where tourists came to eat fresh fish, drink cold juices, and enjoy the breeze. Zuri wore a simple apron every day. Her hair was tied back. Her hands moved quickly, carrying plates, wiping tables, pouring drinks. She smiled when guests looked her way. But the moment they turned, her smile faded. At night, when the restaurant closed and the lights went out, Zuri often stayed behind to sweep the floor or stack chairs. Sometimes her co-worker Amma, a friendly, older woman with a loud laugh, would joke, "Zuri, you work like you own this place." Zuri would smile softly. "I just like keeping busy," she would say. But Amma saw more. She saw the way Zuri stared at the sea during breaks. She saw the tired sadness in her eyes when no one was looking. One evening after closing, Zuri sat on the beach wall outside the restaurant, her feet bare in the sand. She held something tightly in her hand, a small necklace, simple silver, the one Jabari had once given her. She pressed it to her lips and whispered to the wind, "Jabari, did I do the right thing?" Amma came out quietly and sat beside her. "You think about him every night," she said gently. Zuri didn't deny it. "I left because of what his mother did," Zuri said. "But he never hurt me, not even once. And still, I left him behind." Amma nodded. "Maybe you were protecting yourself," she said. "Maybe you needed to heal. But love, real love, Zuri, it never dies that easy." Zuri didn't answer. She just stared at the waves, the necklace still in her hand. Her younger co-worker Kemi, playful and full of energy, joined them and tossed her sandals in the sand. "You two are so serious. Let's go dancing in the town square," she laughed. Zuri smiled. "Maybe next time." But even in that smile, a shadow remained. In the quiet of the island, with laughter all around and the sea whispering gently, Zuri still felt something missing. Not a house, not money. Just one man, one voice, one moment of peace with him. She had escaped the pain of a toxic family, but not the memory of love she never stopped feeling. And deep down she wondered if she was still running from something or simply waiting to be found. 2 years later, back in Lagos, Jabari's life had changed completely. He now ran his father's company alone. But the Jabari everyone once knew, the cold, hard businessman, no longer existed. Now he treated his employees kindly and always listened. His eyes, once sharp and harsh, were gentle and understanding. He never married Adais, even though everyone expected him to. Adais eventually moved on, realizing Jabari's heart was somewhere else. Every week, Jabari visited his father's grave. He placed fresh flowers carefully, whispering words he wished he could have said while his father was alive. And he always brought flowers for Lami, Zuri's little sister, buried just beside his father. He'd sit quietly by their graves, thinking deeply about all that had happened. His mother, Mrs. Adeyemi, was in prison. After Zuri exposed her crimes, evidence piled up quickly. She had slowly poisoned her husband for years, and she'd planned the kidnapping that led to Lami's tragic death. Jabari visited her once, only once, and asked why. She had no answer, just tears of regret. One evening, Jabari sat alone in his father's quiet study, sorting through old boxes and papers. His heart was heavy, filled with thoughts of Zuri and the life they could have shared. Suddenly, his hand brushed against something hidden beneath. Old files. a faded envelope. His heartbeat quickened. The handwriting wasn't his father's usual style, and the envelope felt important. Slowly, Jabari opened it. Inside was a neatly folded letter addressed clearly. To Zuri, the girl who truly loved my son. Jabari's breath caught. Carefully, he unfolded the page. As he read, tears filled his eyes. If you're reading this, it means I didn't survive. But please, forgive Jabari. He is not his mother. She tried to make him like her, but she failed. I know because he loved you, and he still does. He is the best thing I ever created. Please, give him the chance I never had, to be happy and loved truly. Jabari held the letter tightly, his chest aching deeply. All these years he believed Zuri hated him, that she blamed him for his mother's cruelty. Now, holding his father's final plea in his hands, he knew he had to find her. Not to ask for love or to force forgiveness. Just to tell her the truth. He should have spoken long ago. This time, Jabari wouldn't stay silent. This time, he would go to her himself. It was late evening when a fierce storm hit the island. Heavy rain poured down, turning roads into muddy rivers. Strong winds knocked branches onto roofs. The small seaside restaurant quickly emptied as guests rushed to their hotels and homes, anxious to find shelter. Zuri stayed behind, helping an elderly tourist who couldn't find his umbrella. Her co-workers, Amma and Kemi, urged her to hurry home. Go ahead, Zuri said softly, smiling to reassure them. I'll just lock up after helping this gentleman. They reluctantly left, disappearing quickly into the darkening streets. Finally alone, Zuri locked the front door after the tourist left safely. The storm intensified, and lightning flashed, illuminating the dark restaurant. She turned around to gather dishes from a table, sighing deeply. The island had never felt lonelier. Then she heard a knock. It was quiet at first, almost lost in the noise of the rain. But then it came again, louder, urgent. Confused, Zuri moved toward the door, tray still in hand. Through the wet glass, she saw a man's figure standing outside, soaked and shaking from the cold. She quickly unlocked the door. Come in! Hurry, please! She called. The man stepped inside, dripping water onto the floor, coughing softly from the rough boat ride. Zuri grabbed a towel, turning toward him, and froze. Her tray slipped from her hands, dishes crashing loudly onto the floor. It was Jabari. 2 years vanished in a heartbeat. Zuri's chest tightened, and her breath caught painfully in her throat. Her hands trembled. Neither spoke. They just stared, the storm raging outside, mirroring the storm within their hearts. Finally, Jabari broke the silence, voice gentle but unsteady. I came to say sorry. That's all. Zuri took a small step back, emotions overwhelming her. Sorry for what your mother did? She whispered, her voice shaking with hurt. He shook his head slowly, eyes full of sorrow. No. Sorry for not stopping her. Sorry for letting you walk away thinking you were alone. A loud clap of thunder echoed through the restaurant, but neither moved. Zuri's vision blurred. Her voice was barely audible. You think saying sorry will fix it? I lost everything because of your family. I lost my sister. I lost myself. He stepped forward slowly, cautiously, as if afraid she might vanish again. I know, he said softly, tears mixing with the rainwater on his face. I've spent 2 years living with the guilt, the shame. I didn't deserve you then. And maybe I still don't now. But Zuri, he paused, voice breaking, desperate to reach her. I never stopped thinking about you. Not for a single day. The words cut through Zuri's defenses. Her carefully built walls finally collapsed. I hated you, she choked out, I hated you, and I loved you. I still do." The confession hung heavy in the air between them, raw and honest. Zuri's legs weakened, and she sank slowly onto a chair, crying openly now for the first time since leaving Lagos. All the pain, loneliness, and regret flowed out. Unstoppable. Jabari knelt beside her, gently placing a cautious hand on her shoulder. When she didn't pull away, he slowly wrapped his arms around her, holding her close, but carefully, as if she might break. No kiss was shared, no rushed promises spoken. Instead, they just stayed there, holding each other tightly, soaking in the sorrow, healing the deep wounds they had both carried alone for far too long. Outside, the storm still roared, fierce and powerful. But inside, two broken souls found calmness in each other's arms, finally beginning to mend. The next morning, the storm was gone. But its damage was everywhere. Trees had fallen, power lines were down, homes near the hills were buried under mud and stone. The peaceful island was now full of panic and pain. Zuri didn't stay in the restaurant that day. She tied her scarf, put on old sneakers, and joined a group of locals helping with rescue. Jabari came with her. He didn't say much, but wherever Zuri went, he followed, lifting, carrying, helping. Children cried, women searched for missing family. The air smelled of wet earth and smoke from broken wires. Zuri and Jabari moved, quickly, working side by side without speaking. She looked at him sometimes, seeing a man who was no longer proud or polished, just real, human, trying to make things right. Then, it happened. They were near a small school where volunteers were helping trapped children. A little boy stood crying beside a broken tree. Zuri shouted to him, "Come here, baby. It's not safe." But before he could move, the ground gave a loud crack. A massive branch, loosened by the storm, came crashing down. Zuri screamed. "Yeah!" A flash. Jabari lunged forward, grabbed the child, and pushed him out of the way, just as the tree fell. But he didn't move fast enough. The branch struck his back and side hard, throwing him to the ground. "Jabari!" Zuri cried, running to him. Blood soaked his shirt. His eyes were half open, dazed. "Get help!" she shouted. "Please, someone help us!" Two men rushed over and helped carry him to the nearest clinic. Zuri ran beside him the whole way, hands shaking, voice trembling. Inside the small hospital, doctors rushed him onto a bed. His breathing was shallow. Cuts lined his face. A nurse gave Zuri a chair beside him, but she didn't sit. She held his hand, tears falling freely now. "You saved that boy," she whispered. "But who will save me if you go?" She leaned closer, voice cracking. "Don't die. Please, don't die. You're the only person who ever saw me. Really saw me." Jabari opened his eyes weakly. He looked at her, not with pain but peace. His voice was barely a whisper. "Then let me see you. Forever." Zuri gasped softly. Her lips trembled. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm not leaving. Doctors called for more bandages." The room filled with movement, but Zuri stayed still, holding his hand tighter, as if she could keep his soul from slipping away. She had once left him broken. Now she was the one keeping him alive, piece by piece, heartbeat by heartbeat. Outside, the sun was rising again, slowly drying the island's wounds. And inside, so was Zuri's heart. Jabari's recovery was slow, but steady. The clinic kept him for 2 nights before moving him to a quiet guest room above the restaurant. Zuri stayed with him every day. She changed his bandages, helped him sit up, and made sure he ate properly. At first, he protested. "You should, be resting too," he said. Zuri smiled softly, handing him warm soup. "This time I choose to stay," she whispered. As the days passed, something gentle returned between them. The silence was no longer filled with pain, but peace. They didn't rush anything. They talked about small things, the weather, the sea, the strange dreams Jabari had while on pain medicine. And they laughed. For the first time in years, Jabari laughed without holding back. His smile wasn't guarded. His heart wasn't hiding. One morning, Zuri pulled him gently into the kitchen. "Today you're learning island food," she said. Jabari raised an eyebrow. "Me? Cook?" She handed him a knife. "You owe me." He chopped vegetables awkwardly, making a mess. Zuri giggled like the girl she used to be. The sound made Jabari's chest ache in the best way. He looked at her while she stirred the pot and thought, this is what home feels like. Not a mansion, not wealth, just this. That evening, as the sun began to set, he asked her to walk with him. They walked slowly along the beach, the sand cool under their feet. The sky turned golden and orange, the waves gentle beside them. Zuri turned to say something, but stopped. Jabari had dropped to one knee, barefoot, holding something small in his palm. It was the old engagement ring, the one she had left on the bedside table 2 years ago. Her eyes widened, tears threatened to rise. Jabari looked up at her, his voice quiet but steady. No fancy house, no family name, no legacy. Just me, just love. Zuri stared at him for a long moment. Then she slowly sat beside him, in the sand, holding his hand. "Only if we write a new story together," she whispered. He smiled. "From the first page," he said. They didn't rush back home. They just sat there, hand in hand, letting the sky turn from gold to deep blue. The world felt quiet, safe, full again. They stood up after a while and walked together, their fingers gently locked, their steps in rhythm. And in that moment, it wasn't about fixing the past. It was about choosing the future. "Hey, besties, this isn't part of the story. This is just me, talking to you. To be honest, I never planned to make a part 4. I truly believed some stories don't get happy endings. But then your comments came flooding in. So many of you begged for a happy ending for Zuri and Jabari. And you know what? I listened, because when my besties speak, I hear them loud and clear. So I gave their story the ending it deserved. If you enjoyed this final part, let me know in the comments by typing Besties for Life. Love you all.